Look at the cities we live in today. Glass towers rising above busy streets, suburban houses stretching further into the countryside, and infrastructure connecting us in ways never seen before. Architecture has always been a story of human ambition. But with that ambition has come a cost: pollution, resource depletion, and a contribution to climate change so significant that buildings are now responsible for nearly 40% of global carbon emissions. So the question becomes, how do we design differently? How do we build in a way that doesn't just limit the damage, but actively helps to create a better future? The answer lies in a movement that's reshaping our skylines and our homes. Sustainable architecture begins with a simple but profound shift, putting the planet at the centre of design decisions. But in the 21st century, we can't ignore the environmental costs. This means understanding the ecological footprint of every design choice. Where will this building sit within the landscape? How will it affect the local environment, the air, the water, the biodiversity around it? Will it contribute to urban heat, or will it help cool its surroundings? When architects talk about designing with the planet in mind, they're talking about balancing human needs with the natural systems that support us. A sustainable building doesn't stand apart from nature, it works with it. This philosophy can be seen in site selection, orientation, and even how a building captures daylight and wind. It's the recognition that every project is part of a much larger ecological web. Another core element of sustainable architecture is energy. Now, buildings consume enormous amounts of it for heating, cooling, lighting, running appliances, but the cleanest energy of all is the energy that we don't use. This is why sustainable architecture prioritizes reducing demand first. Passive design strategies like orienting a building to allow maximum natural light, using shading to cut heat gain, and allowing for natural ventilation can dramatically lower energy use without expensive technology. Think of a home that stays cool in summer because of deep roof overhangs, or stays warm in winter because its walls are insulated with natural materials. By minimizing reliance on artificial heating and cooling, these buildings save money, cut emissions, and create more comfortable spaces. Of course, renewable energy has a role too. Solar panels, wind power, and geothermal systems can supply clean power to buildings. But the most sustainable strategy always starts by asking, how can we reduce demand before adding supply? Materials can carry hidden stories of mining, manufacturing, transportation, and waste. In architecture, these stories are measured as embodied carbon, the emissions released before a building even opens its doors. Sustainable architecture pays close attention to these stories. It asks, where did this material come from? How much energy did it take to produce? Can it be reused at the end of a building's life? This is why architects today are turning to low carbon options. Timber, when sourced responsibly, stores carbon instead of emitting it. Recycled steel and reclaimed bricks reduce the need for virgin products. Emerging materials like hempcrete or cross-laminated timber offer strength with a lighter footprint. It's not about abandoning modern materials altogether, but about being intentional. Concrete and steel may still be needed for certain applications, but sustainable design uses them carefully, sparingly, and in combination with greener alternatives. Because by rethinking materials, we reduce waste, conserve resources, and create buildings that tell a story of responsibility rather than exploitation. After all, we spend around 90% of our entire lives indoors. The quality of those spaces, the air we breathe, the light we see, the sounds we hear, directly impact our health. Sustainable architecture creates healthier environments by focusing on good ventilation, non-toxic materials, natural light, and acoustic comfort. It's the idea that a building should support well-being, not undermine it. Now take biophilic design, for example, the practice of connecting people with nature through greenery, natural textures, and daylight. Studies show that it can reduce stress, improve productivity, and even speed up healing in hospitals. Crazy. A healthy building doesn't just cut energy bills. It gives people space where they feel better, where they can work better, where they can live better. In that sense, sustainability and human well-being are inseparable. And finally, sustainable architecture is about time. Too often, buildings are designed for short lifespans, cheap construction that lasts decades only before being demolished. But every demolition means more waste, more emissions, and more lost value. Truly sustainable buildings are designed to last. They're adaptable, they're able to be renovated or repurposed or upgraded instead of being torn down. They use durable materials, flexible floor plans, and incorporate timeless design strategies. They anticipate climate change impacts like higher temperatures, flooding, or stronger storms. They're designed not just for today's needs, but for tomorrow's challenges. In this way, sustainable architecture is not only about reducing harm, it's about resilience, creating structures that will serve generations instead of becoming tomorrow's problem. So what is sustainable architecture? Well, it's design that puts the planet first, reduces energy demands, uses materials wisely, creates healthier spaces, and builds for the future. It's not about one technology or one trend. It's about a mindset, a way of seeing architecture not as an isolated act of construction, but as part of a living system where every choice matters. From the home you live in to the schools and workplaces that shape your daily life, sustainable architecture is redefining what it means to build responsibly. It's not just about less harm, it's about more good. Because in the end, the buildings we create aren't just walls and roofs. They're the foundations of our future. And that future can be sustainable, but only if we choose to design that way. I think that's good enough.